like we said in our previous video, we're gonna do a steering wheel for our chibikart modification, and it just so happens we do have a steering wheel we could use. We were gonna buy one, and then earlier in the semester, Zane and I bought this pile of rust in Calhoun, and it has this cute little steering wheel on it. So we're gonna remove this and use it for our modification. And like we said in the other video, we have that universal joint that we're going to try and use, but I think that we still need some other mechanism to get the whole steering assembly working like we want it to in a conventional car. So let's get this off. Yeah, it's pretty rusted on there.
You really are. Yes. Yes.
Look,
Yes.
what did Archimedes say?
Leverage is key.
Oh, with give me a lever long enough and I can lift the world.
There you go.
Do I get extra credit?
Oh,
For that?
damn it. I was thinking that.
Oh, I remembered it on the spot though.
It was jam handy, man.
He said, give me a lever long enough and I can move the world.
Oh, okay.
But
Because I'm like this. That's a lot of ice cream right there. I know. 'cause
And
I
they're
measured
like,
it.
they're working super hard
Sweet.
too when they're doing it.
Like you.
On our U-joint to come in from Amazon. In order to get ready for our next track day up at the pavilion at Windshape, we're going to key our drive shafts a little bit more. You've seen us do that before and know all about that process. They're not bad right now, but preferably they wouldn't slip at all. They just slip a little bit.
Sorry.
So while we have the time, specifically this one, we're going to go ahead and key this a little bit more so the set screws have a flat surface to grab onto. And you've seen this done in previous videos. So here's our re-keyed drive shaft. It's kind of hard to tell on camera, but this edge right here is a lot flatter. You can sort of tell on camera, but it's a lot better than it used to be. So using this Dremel helped a lot. There's more precision involved in an angle grinder, and it took way less time than a traditional metal file. So hopefully this works. One idea for a mod that we had, like a non-serious mod besides the steering wheel, is to make a spoiler that comes out of here, out of the back. So what we're thinking is take these L brackets and bolt them to this back bar 80/20, and then take this 80/20 right here and put some T-slot weld nuts in here, and then just bolt this like that. Paint it black, of course, and then from there we'll take some foam core and cut out like a fun angled shape, something like that. And then of course we'll paint it black. So we'll be working on that. Okay, so
That's pretty cool.
okay, so the second post is on for the spoiler. Here's just a mock-up. It looks silly, but it's gonna be cool. Sydney's cutting some winglets that are gonna go on the side.
like so.
Pretty cool.
And if you move,
So here's our final version of our spoiler prototype. So we have the 80/20 coming up here, and then right now the actual like spoiler part is just foam core. We'll probably laser cut the foam core later, so it actually looks professional, so we don't have like all this extra crap going down on here, and it's not, you know, doesn't look good, and it's all glued. So we also have these little, I don't even know what these go to. I think they were for the brake pad. We had a lot left over, and if you undo this little nut or bolt where the weld nut is, you can adjust this, so we can adjust the pitch of the spoiler to have it flat or angled. So it looks pretty mean. So after all of our modifications, here's our final form for our chibikart. So it's pretty heavily modified. So where I left off before, I was talking to you all about the U-joint that we used. We ended up getting a new U-joint. That's like it's coplanar, so it allows for more degrees of freedom, and it doesn't bind as much, because before we were using a U-joint that was from like a wrench U-joint for socket sets. So we changed that and got a different U-joint. So we did a lot of modification here. So we have a steering wheel that you all saw before, and essentially to make all of this work and to get steering from the steering wheel, we took an old tool that is used for taking off grinding wheels and cutting wheels from an angle grinder. So this is that tool, and it's like basically a piece of metal shaped like a Y, like the letter Y, and we bent it up right here and then drilled a hole in it for our steel pipe to go through right there, and then drilled another hole at the end of the Y, end of the tool, and then bolted it into place right there. And then we took an existing piece of aluminum that we had from the build right here. We took that and modified it, cut it right here, and it has a hole right in here that the brass fitting, like this brass fitting and the brass fitting that sits in here, can slide into. And so the Y piece right here holds the brass fitting, and then this keeps the brass fitting from rotating. So we hacked that tool quite a bit, and to keep the brass fitting from moving, we used some bolts to go through here, and then as you can see, the nut kind of clamps down right here. It doesn't look too pretty, but it keeps it in place. It's kind of ghetto. So hopefully this holds for our next track day. It doesn't look too pretty, but we did a test drive and it does work. There's still some side-to-side movement that is a little bit concerning, but on the test drive, I mean, the wheel did, you know, it turns the wheels, the steering wheel, like a conventional wheel. So the U-joint is doing its job, as you can see right here. So what we did to get this to work is we took a steel pipe that was different from our aluminum pipe. So we took a steel pipe, and then let's see, try and get focus for you guys. There we go. We just tacked it in place here, and then found a bolt, bolted it to our steering wheel, and then it's tacked to the bolt right there, so you can see, and then we just ground it down so we can fit the brass fittings into place. So a second modification is our spoiler, just for added fun. You saw this before, but we decided to take the aluminum and bend it back at the joints right here, because when it was vertical, straight up, your head would hit right here and your head would hit the spoiler. So we bent the aluminum back, and then to add a little bit of rigidity, we took this chibikart splitter. I guess that's what a front spoiler is called, a splitter. And we drilled some holes in it, or drilled 2 holes in it, and uses some T-slot weld nuts to slide through the aluminum, and then bolted it into place there, just for some extra rigidity and style points, as you can see right there. And then just have a spoiler bolted from this little guy to here on both sides. So it looks pretty mean. Hopefully it holds up for track day.